In 475 BC, a Chinese fish farmer named Fan Li wrote something that would change how civilizations fed themselves for the next 2,000 years. His treatise described a method so efficient that a single installation could produce more protein per square foot than cattle ranching and more nutrition per acre than any industrial farm. Frank Miller here with Heritage Garden Wisdom, and once you build the system I'm showing you today, it will feed your family for decades without buying feed, without permits, without depending on anyone. Auburn University researchers documented yields of up to 350 pounds of fish from ponds of just 1,000 square feet when managed with basic fertilization. To put that in perspective, a quarter-acre of cattle pasture produces about 200 pounds of beef per year and requires constant feeding, veterinary care, and infrastructure. These small ponds produced nearly double the protein using 1/10 of the space, with almost zero inputs. The studies were published, cited by a handful of permaculture enthusiasts, and then the momentum stopped. No government subsidies, no extension office programs, no agricultural colleges teaching it at scale. Because the moment you install a productive pond in your backyard, you stop buying meat from the industrial system. The industrial meat system in America is valued at $200 billion annually and has no incentive to promote backyard protein production. When European settlers arrived in North America, they brought cattle, pigs, and chickens, animals that required constant feeding, fencing, and labor. The idea of an edible pond that managed itself seemed too simple, almost primitive. But it was not primitive, it was elegant biological engineering. By the time the 20th century arrived, backyard ponds in America were considered decorative, not functional. Koi ponds for the wealthy, ornamental fountains, nothing that actually fed anyone. The knowledge had been buried. But around 3500 BC, during the Neolithic period along China's Yellow River, farmers noticed something after seasonal floods receded. Fish, specifically carp, were trapped in low-lying areas. If they dug those depressions a little deeper and reinforced the edges with clay, the fish stayed, thrived, and reproduced. This was not farming yet. This was observation, partnering with what the land already wanted to do. System number 1. The 4-component closed-loop aquaculture pond. Polyculture is the practice of culturing more than one species of aquatic organisms in the same pond. The motivating principle is that fish production in ponds may be maximized by raising a combination of species having different food habits. The mixture of fish gives better utilization of available natural food produced in a pond. Polyculture began in China more than 1,000 years ago. Then, during the Tang Dynasty in the 7th century AD, something unexpected happened that revolutionized aquaculture forever. The emperor's family name was Li, the same name as the common carp. Out of respect, or perhaps superstition, the emperor banned the farming of common carp across the entire empire. Farmers faced a crisis. Carp had been their primary protein source for over 1,000 years, but instead of starving, they innovated. They began raising multiple species in the same pond: mud carp that fed on bottom sediments, silver carp that filtered algae in the middle water column, grass carp that consumed plants at the surface, and bighead carp that ate zooplankton. Each species occupied a different ecological niche. There was no competition, no waste, just a stacked, self-regulating ecosystem that was more productive than anything that had come before. Component 1. The ducks. Ducks are not just livestock, they are the biological managers of your pond. When ducks swim, they stir up bottom sediments, releasing nutrients into the water column. When they defecate, and they do constantly, they are adding nitrogen directly into the ecosystem. That nitrogen feeds algae, the algae feeds zooplankton, the zooplankton feeds small fish, the small fish feed larger fish, and the ducks eat insects, aquatic plants, and occasionally small fish. It is a closed loop where every action feeds something else. A small flock of 3 to 5 ducks will also give you eggs. Khaki Campbell ducks, one of the most productive breeds, lay between 280 and 340 eggs per year per duck. That is 840 to 1,700 eggs annually from a tiny flock. Research shows that ducks with access to pond ecosystems can forage up to 30% of their nutritional needs from insects, aquatic plants, and small organisms, drastically cutting your feed costs. Aquatic vegetation is not decoration. It is the kidneys and lungs of your pond. Cattails are one of the most efficient biological filters on Earth. Their roots pull excess nitrogen and phosphorus out of the water, preventing algae blooms and keeping the ecosystem balanced. A ring of cattails around your pond's shallow edges will do more for water quality than any expensive mechanical filter. Water lilies provide shade, which lowers water temperature and reduces evaporation in summer. Submerged plants like hornwort and anacharis release oxygen during the day, critical for fish health. Floating plants like water lettuce and duckweed absorb nutrients so efficiently that wastewater treatment facilities use them. Duckweed, in particular, is remarkable. Under optimal conditions, it doubles its biomass in less than 48 hours, and ducks will eat it as fast as it grows, creating a self-renewing food source that costs you nothing. Research into aquaponics has shown that plants can remove up to 90% of the nitrogen waste produced by fish. For most of the United States, bluegill and channel catfish are the easiest and most legal options. Bluegill grow slower but requires zero care. Stock them once and they reproduce on their own, creating a self-replenishing food source. They reach harvestable size, about 6 to 8 inches, in roughly 2 years. Channel catfish grow faster, reaching 1 to 2 pounds within 18 months in a well-managed pond. Low-intensity pond aquaculture typically yields 100 to 500 pounds of fish per acre per year in unaerated ponds, receiving less than 10 to 30 pounds of feed per acre per day. Improved aquaculture production is possible in shallow ponds employing mechanical aeration, increasing fish yields to 1,000 to 5,000 pounds per acre per year, with feed addition approaching 100 pounds per acre per day. Beneficial bacteria convert fish waste ammonia into nitrites, then into nitrates that plants absorb. This nitrogen cycle is the backbone of the entire ecosystem. Once it is established, it balances itself. You are not managing a farm, you are stewarding a living system. For a family-scale homestead protein system, you are looking at a total setup cost of around $400 to $600, depending on whether you dig by hand or rent equipment. Choose a spot that gets at least 6 hours of sunlight daily, but not full sun all day, which would overheat the water. Mark out your pond. For a family-scale setup, roughly 10 feet by 15 feet and 4 to 5 feet deep at the center. Create a shallow shelf about 1 foot deep and 2 to 3 feet wide around the edges. This is your marsh zone, where plants will root. If you have heavy clay soil, you can seal the pond the traditional way by lining it with 6 inches of wet clay and compacting it by walking on it. If your soil is sandy or rocky, use an EPDM liner that lasts 20 to 30 years. Start with the plants. Plant cattails and irises on the shallow shelves. Add submerged plants like hornwort in deeper sections. Float some water lettuce or duckweed on the surface. Let this sit for 2 to 4 weeks. After a month, add your ducks. 2 to 5 is ideal for a small pond. After another month, introduce your fish. Stock about 50 fingerlings per 1,000 square feet of water. For the first 6 months, you do almost nothing. You watch the ducks, check water clarity, pull excess duckweed if it smothers the surface, and top off the water level during dry spells. By year 2, the fish reproduce on their own. The ducks keep laying, the plants keep filtering. By year 3, you are not managing a project anymore, you are simply harvesting from a living ecosystem that has woven itself into your land. Like this video, subscribe to Heritage Garden Wisdom, and comment below. Are you building a pond or staying dependent on the industrial meat system? Frank reads every one.